Whether your teenager is just getting into high school or about to graduate from high school, it's always time to be thinking about college. However, if your teen has ADHD, you'll need to think a little differently about college. I have an important list of 7 items you need to know so that your teen with ADHD can launch successfully and not be one of the 50% of kids who drop out of college. I'm Annie Adjen. I'm a certified ADHD coach. I work with teenagers, college students, and their parents to help them all understand ADHD, learn how to manage it, and tap into its many gifts. Something funny happens when our kids get accepted to college. We assume that because they got into college, they're ready for college. ADHD is a chronic condition, and it doesn't just disappear when a student heads off to school. Even with effective management and good coaching throughout all the teenage years, the neurodevelopmental challenges are still there. In fact, college can make ADHD challenges way more obvious. I've seen so many college freshmen suddenly realize that they can't juggle both school and life at the same time without all that structure and scaffolding that they had back in high school. Some even get diagnosed for the very first time because of this sudden major fallout. Things like following the syllabus, pre-reading for lectures and class discussions, conducting research, just putting papers before partying can make for really huge obstacles for the ADHD college brain. The reality is, if your teen can get into college, they can cut it in college, but not without a lot of pre-planning, accountability measures, and a whole lot of insider information. The following list that I have for you is just that. We're going to make sure that you avoid all the most common and very costly mistakes when launching a college-bound student who has ADHD. FERPA spells FERPA. FERPA stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. But more simply explained, it is a form signed by your student turned into their college. Once a student turns 18 years old, their educational rights transfer from you to them. Your son or daughter's school will not release any information about your student no matter what without the FERPA form granting you access. Nothing. No checking their grades. You can email their professors, but they can't email you back. No calling advisors for academic progress. You can't even reach their RA of their dorm room to make sure your child still has a pulse. Get that FERPA form signed and on file immediately. In fact, this is a measure that I encourage all parents of college students to take, whether your college teen is neurotypical or neurodiverse. The FERPA form is easy to find. It's almost always located right on the college website. Next, be sure to establish a weekly formal check-in with your child. Your student will share their computer screen in Zoom or another synchronous meeting platform. Don't miss a single meeting, especially when things are going well, and these meetings should be non-negotiable. Teens need to know that in life, in their future careers, they're going to have to report to a superior on a regular basis. They have to show their work, they're going to have to show their progress. So during this weekly check-in, they will show you their classes, their grades, all their assignments. You should even have them check their school email inbox together with you, because that's where concerned professors will communicate with them, and it's probably the last place your student's looking. Put your eyes on everything to see the evidence for yourself. Now, your student's not going to love this drill at first, but after just a couple weeks, it will be smooth because they want to profile their work in progress. However, if there's a lot of resistance, that could be a sign of difficulties. Lean into the resistance. The time to set up these meetings is not when there is an academic crisis. That's too late. Do this from the first day of school. This is what scaffolding for ADHD looks like at the college level. Your child might go away for college, but your scaffolding to support them must stay in place. The next tip is to get a coach. An ADHD coach is always a good idea at every stage, but especially at the college age, because more than ever now, your child craves independence from you. But they can't yet independently execute all of their responsibilities alone. At this age, they are going to respond much better to a neutral party than to a parent. An ADHD coach will know where those college pitfalls are, and they'll be able to scaffold your child before they come home with all Fs and you're out $20,000. When looking for a coach, ask to see their certification. Ask them if they work with college students. Ask them for a reference that you can speak to by phone. And also make sure your coach communicates with you about everything after every session with your son or daughter. They're going to serve as your eyes and ears on the college campus, keeping you updated on your teen's progress. Investing in a coach now could save you from paying extra years of college tuition later. The next tip is do not let your student govern over their own finances. Not yet. If you give them a stipend, dispense it weekly, not monthly. And even then, don't expect it's going to last the whole week. Get them set up on a budgeting app like Monarch so they can create categories for spending and visually see how much money they have and how much money they've spent and how much money is left. There's no better time to learn about budgeting than now. Apps like Monarch really help them learn financial awareness. Personal finance must be taught, practiced. It can only be learned with experience. It's not going to happen automatically for the ADHD brain. Do not assume that if you give your student money for classes and books and living expenses that they're going to be responsible with it. This next suggestion might feel a little excessive, but I do urge you to draft a contract before day one of college. This contract is going to state that there will be no missed classes, no missed assignments, and no missed weekly check-ins with you. You can also add other important things, like they need to keep the family location app, the tracker on their phones, on at all times. And many families also include expectations around adherence to taking medication. Decide what are the most important non-negotiables for you, but don't go overboard. It's also important to include that if classes aren't passing at mid-semester or midterm, you are going to intervene with necessary measures and remediation. This could look like meetings at the Student Support Center, body double with you or a private tutor, attending professors' office hours, but they will be all of your choosing. You're letting them know that if they're not able to adhere to the contract, then you, mom and dad, you are then going to call the shots moving forward. Also state in the contract that after the first term, if all classes are not successfully passed, they will not continue at that college for the next term. Put it in clear language. Refer to it often. Do collaborate a lot with your teenager to work together on all these terms so that they feel a part of the process and it doesn't feel unilateral. And then you both must sign the contract. Keep it close by. Don't file it away. These are the terms that your son or daughter need to be reminded of every day, because it's a very real possibility that their first college experience could be bumpy, especially if you let them go off to their dream school. Once this agreement is in place, then let them know, look, I believe in you. You can get into college, then you can make it in college. Let them know you will support them all the way. And if it's too much too soon, it's okay. We have our plan here for what to do next. You're covered. 2 last quick but important tips. A family calendar. A digital one. Your college students should keep a digital calendar current, and this is where they add all of their courses, their appointments, tutoring, work hours, and also add in your weekly check-ins. Have your student turn on notifications for reminders 10 minutes before each event. And go ahead and prompt them to check it really often to get them in the habit of using it. You can gently prompt them by saying, oh, hey, go ahead and add that one to your calendar. And once they're in the habit, they'll start responding back to you with, oh yeah, I already put it on the calendar. Take a look, it's there. Now, here's where you can really leverage this tool. Once your student is used to using the calendar system, have them block an hour or a couple of hours for just study time. Preferably, this would be the same days and times each week, and it marks when they're going to study, and they treat it with the same level of importance as all other events on that calendar. This is time blocking. Study time must be scheduled, or study time is not going to happen. If they need you to virtually body double with them, go ahead. Creating a very structured routine is absolutely imperative for college students. They cannot succeed in college without a set routine. The last tip is to have them register at the Center for Students with Disabilities. Every campus has one of these. It's required by law. This way, students who qualify can be given accommodations like extra time or a quiet place for test taking. Your student can't just show a professor a doctor's note or tell them that they need extra help or extra time. Professors will be willing to work with them and meet their needs only if they're notified about necessary accommodations through the Center for Students with Disabilities. What I really like is that in some cases, once registered, many students with ADHD are permitted to take one less class and still be considered for full-time status and not jeopardize losing financial aid or any scholarships. I've often helped families rush to submit doctor's diagnoses and neuropsych evaluations to their college support centers after a student fails an entire semester. So there's no harm in taking this step at the very beginning. If your teen needed classroom accommodations for their ADHD at any point in high school, well, they're definitely going to need them at the college level. And there you have your list of 7 tips for launching your son or daughter off to college successfully. It's okay if it takes them longer than 4 years. They may need more time to finish off that degree. A gap year, part-time work, study abroad, those are all really valuable experiences to consider. ADHD delays the development of those executive functioning skills, so giving them extra time to grow academically and personally is going to be necessary, even if it means paying for an extra semester or 2. I'm Coach Annie Adjin, and I'm wishing you all A's in your every endeavor.